organisations, education, leadership, physiology of well-being. How do they relate to each other and what can we learn from them? These are the things I've been investigating throughout the MALP unit on creating positive education. Positive Organisational Scholarship, or POS, is concerned primarily with the study of especially positive outcomes, processes and attributes of organisations and their members. Therefore, POS does not represent a single theory, but focuses on dynamics that are typically described by words such as excellence, thriving, flourishing, abundance, resilience, or virtuousness. Responsible leadership in the positive organisational scholarship sense is unashamedly value-biased, and in my role as a leader within an organisation, this is something I'm always working to achieve. Positive deviants are important in POS, and behaviour within an organisation that promotes upward spirals toward optimal individual and organisational functioning can help to create positive deviants. That is, people who demonstrate intentional behaviours that depart from the norms of a referent group in honourable ways. As Kim Cameron states, if you want to lead extraordinary performance, you need to provide staff the opportunity to be extraordinary. Allow an increase in flow by demonstrating an abundance culture and increase virtuousness. Basically, increase everything good. The 6D approach can help leaders to make the best of those individuals, teams or organisations demonstrating positive deviance. In the 6Ds approach, define the problem and successful solution or outcome you wish to achieve. Determine those individuals or organisations who already exhibit these behaviours. Discover the practices or behaviours that make them positive deviants. Design and implement activities. That is, focus on doing rather than transferring knowledge. Discern, monitor and evaluate to determine effectiveness. And disseminate successes to others. Now, how does positive organisational scholarship relate to positive education? Positive education brings together the science of positive psychology with best practice teaching to encourage and support individuals, schools and communities to flourish. Positive education focuses on specific skills that assist students to strengthen their relationships, build positive emotions, enhance personal resilience, promote mindfulness and encourage a healthy lifestyle. Emotional well-being and resilient behaviour is of fundamental importance in schools. A positive psychology approach should focus on an individual's strengths, assist them in problem solving regarding interpersonal relationships, and promote the development of qualities that are valued both socially and individually. Through teaching these valuable life skills, students have an increased capacity to learn effectively, as well as a strong foundation on which they can build a successful life. Now, Buddhists have been demonstrating for centuries the physiology of well-being. But what do we now know of the physiology of leadership and well-being? Alan Hamilton, during his TEDx talk about prescribing hope, changing outcomes with optimism, very honestly discussed the importance of optimism in people's health and outlined hope as a combination of ability and power. How tragic that leaders sometimes feel that it's okay to withhold optimism and hope from their colleagues. That's certainly not the kind of leader I endeavour to be each and every day. The alchemy of optimism, as shared by John Coleman during his TEDx talk, discusses contrarian leadership, which included the suggestions to go do nothing, to be fearless, and to allow others to be fearless, and to know the different, and to protect and nurture those who are different. The best advice for leaders that I feel he gives is that in the beginning you have to believe. Then believe in those around you. Then you will start to believe in things together. And then you'll begin an era of optimism. Imagine your workplace in an era of optimism. Who wouldn't want to work there? Simon Sinek has some very inspiring TED Talks relating to leaders, and each explains the physiology behind our actions as leaders, and why leaders get the results that they do, both positive and negative. Understanding the physiology behind people's responses to leaders' decisions helps us to identify how we can begin to make positive change in our own organisations. Having a resilient organisational culture will also ensure positivity within an organisation. Now, the word resilience differs in its definition when being referred to in the various domains to which it is now aligned, including individual, community, business, or national. When it's applied to organisations, the prevailing objective of most definitions is the organisation's ability to survive. This survival approach is then sustained by a number of components. These components include things like prevention, protection, preparedness, mitigation, response, and recovery. Nevertheless, the key to successful resilience as identified by Braze and Brooks appears to be an organisation's ability to maintain adaptive, proactive, and reactive strategies to deal with threats and risks. Organisational resilience, therefore, is an outcome, not a system. To achieve this outcome, there are three key elements identified by Erica Seville that strengthen organisational resilience: leadership and culture, being change ready in networks, though not in isolation but in their interaction. Some benefits of organisational resilience, as outlined in an Australian government paper by the same name, can be divided into two main areas: leadership and organisational performance. Leadership in organisations demonstrating resilience have more successful outcomes from strategic and operational planning and have enhanced leadership capacity. Regarding organisational performance in organisations demonstrating resilience, we see reduced disruption costs, enhanced reputation with stakeholders, improved ability to attract staff, the generation of reputational and sustained advantage, and increased staff morale, commitment, and productivity. As a leader, you should endeavour to never let a good crisis go to waste. Although not explicit in the coursework, I was interested in further investigating cultural change, how to make it happen and how to sustain it. Some research outlined that culture is the normative or social glue that binds an organisation together and expresses the social ideals and patterns of beliefs or values that an organisation's members share. This culture is also represented in symbolic devices or artefacts. Cultural change is an extremely long process, especially in organisations with entrenched negativity. However, it is still a worthwhile process. To create cultural change, there appears to be 5 main processes for organisations to follow. 1. Match strategies with the culture you want to create. Then focus on the critical shifts in behaviour and be explicit about these. Honour the strengths of your existing culture. Integrate formal and informal interventions. And 5. Measure and monitor cultural evaluations. Managers in particular have the potential to change an organisation, and therefore they should act in an exemplary way. In my research, I was introduced to the idea of cultural intelligence as an aspect of cultural change, and the 4-step model, which includes drive, knowledge, strategy, and action. In cultural intelligence, it has its roots in mindfulness, which is a key component in the positive psychology and positive education movement, and your ability to flourish. Maybe it's just because I'm now looking at organisations and leaders with positive psychology or positive educational binoculars. But it now doesn't surprise me when I see different components of positive psychology and new ideas, such as cultural intelligence. If you are a great leader or a great organisation, it makes sense to me now that you would be incorporating positive psychology in your work and life. Are you?